You're listening to the new Grandcarers SA podcast, a podcast series where we share information and insights with you and share ways to manage your caring role with ease. We understand that balancing a caring role can have challenges, and we hope our carer voice conversations provide useful information to you to ponder on. Your caring role is personal to you. Let's get the conversation started. And welcome to this episode of the Grandcarers SA podcast. And we are calling it the Carer's Voice. And I have the pleasure with having Karina and Sue on the podcast episode today. And Karina, would you like to introduce yourself and how you're involved with Grandcarers SA just to get the conversation started?
Yes, hello to everyone who's listening. I am Karina. I am a student social worker. I have been here in Grandcarers for about short 2 months now. And my supervisor is actually Sue, who's on the call as well right now. Well, yeah, that's it for me.
That's wonderful. And you've certainly seen and heard a lot, I should think,
Yes.
since you've been within the Grandcarers SA
Yes, I've
journey.
met a lot of grandcarers, listened to wonderful stories, wonderful and horrible stories as well as I can
Mm,
say.
mm.
But yeah, it's all a learning journey.
It's actually the raw and the real, isn't it?
Yes.
It's seeing that lived experience in the moment, sometimes real time.
Yes.
Yeah, so thank you for sharing. And Sue, it's a little bit of a story on where you're at and where you've come from.
Hi everybody, I'm Sue. I'm a social worker with many years of experience working in DCP. More recently, I've had the pleasure of coming over to Grandcarers SA for a little while. I'm really enjoying my time here working with some wonderful grandparents. I also am a grandcarer myself. I have a 7-year-old granddaughter in my care who's been with me for 18 months now. So I guess we're fairly new in our journey, but working through things together as a family.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. And what involvement have you had in Grandcarers SA before? Did you have any involvement before actually coming to step into this role?
I didn't actually.
Mm, mm,
Um, I I haven't had anything to do with Grandcarers SA before I stepped into this role. In my past, my working DCP life, I've supported many grandcarers through DCP, but not actually informal grandcarers. So I
mhm.
have lots of experience with supporting and understanding grandparents, caring for grandchildren and kinship carers, but not through Grandcarers SA.
Yeah, which is actually a really um, priceless moment, I should say, in terms of now knowing the services and the support that can be there for you as a carer, regardless of actually being involved in the organisation for the moment. So it is only when we see and we need, sometimes at crisis point, sometimes when we need to look. And we find that there are actually many opportunities there for us that we can then choose to be involved in and we can choose to be supported by. So I know that Karina has got a few questions that have come in
Yes.
for the Carer's Voice episode, because I think it's really important to ask you how you would respond to these questions so that the person listening can say, look, I am a carer. I hear you. I see you. So actually, that's a really great tip. I'm going to try that. Or somebody may also be listening to it that knows someone else that's in a caring role and can subtly encourage them to actually take on board some new ways of doing things. So I would like to say that I very much respect also the love and the care that's provided, and have been told many, many times the coined phrase of it's more than a full-time job. It's 24/8, not 24/7. And really respecting and being very grateful for you being on the line, Sue, to share your lived experience. So, Karina, What's our first
Mhm.
question for Sue that's come in?
All right. So someone asked, has anyone else feel like they've lost their identity since becoming a full-time carer? And how did you adjust to it?
I don't think I've lost my identity since becoming a full-time carer. I think I am who I am. And as part of who I am, I guess that's why I've taken on the care of her. Like
Mm.
I really, well, I see myself as a really loving, caring person, and I guess, my concern is that my family all have the opportunity to have a good life and be cared for and loved and safe. And that's part of who I am. But in saying that, lots of, I guess, things have changed. I guess our whole world has changed. My relationship with my husband has changed as we both navigate stepping back to being parents again. I have struggled, but probably my husband has struggled even more than I have. And so supporting him to understand who Isabel is part of that journey for us. Because my granddaughter has lots of she has ASD and ADHD, so we have some at times tricky behaviours that we need to navigate through helping my husband understand where those behaviours are coming from, and helping my granddaughter to deal with that stuff as well. But also the relationship with my other grandchildren has changed. I used other grandchildren used to come and sleep over regularly, and that's probably got a bit more tricky around being able to do that, and the relationship that we all have, the relationship between all of the grandchildren, because when you're a grandparent, being a parent to one and a grandparent being a grandcarer to all of the others, it's really, those dynamics really change. And so I guess, yeah, I don't think I've lost who I am, but our world has changed and our priorities are different. We need to rethink lots of things that we had planned as we were coming into retirement. And the cost of raising this child, so we have to take all of that into consideration now. So it's definitely changed our world.
Yeah. And I'd like to just say as well on that is what I'm hearing is that the external factors, the external part of your life has changed. Also in terms of the care, the co-caring together, but also taking
Yes.
on a semi-supportive / caring role of your husband. Because like you say, you have this path in life, you're going to be working, then you're going to retire, you might start, thinking about traveling Oz, and then from the side, you have this then sudden responsibility. And what I
Yes.
took from that is that the relationships are so key, firstly in holding them strong while you're going through such a change, but also that health, wealth, and relationships can impact. You were talking about wealth in terms of, retiring, now
Yes.
having bills that are associated with
Yeah.
being a grand carer, as well as the grandparent still, but having those extra things. So thank you for touching on that, because I think relationships are very key. And that's got a lot of nodes that come off it as well in terms of relationships and what those impacts are, to family, to friends, to your existing grandchildren who may be missing But I guess, do you find that also there's a nurturing part of you there? Because you say you haven't lost who Sue is, but so very much, especially with your career, knowing that there still has to be
In
that.
our whole family dynamics, that
Yeah.
they're not this, they're not the way they were when it was just me and my husband at home, and the grandkids would come and visit us and sleep over, and we take them out for all of these treats, because that's what you do as a grandcarer. You're allowed to give them sugar and treats, but now and even the responsibility, the discipline, like you'd let your grandchildren get away with probably a little bit more than you would in a home. But when they live in your home, you have to put the boundaries in place. The boundaries for children are really, really important. And so there's a dynamic around the boundaries for the grandchildren as coming to visit versus the boundaries of a child who's in your care. They're different, and so we've really had to navigate that with all of the children. When they're all there, it's changed a little bit, and and I think like not letting them have the treats that they might have had, because we need to be conscious of Isabel with being loaded with sugar and that kind of stuff. So yeah,
spiral happens, doesn't it? If you give it to one, you give it to the other. And then the boundaries is a huge topic of conversation at the moment, even in my coaching, in terms of us setting our self boundaries, but also instilling it in others to say, I love you, I see you, I hear you, but these are my boundaries, even if it's just this week. I need to focus on A, B, and C. I'm going to put some boundaries around my time and my space, and I would love you to respect that. What are your boundaries going to be this week? How can we work together? And do you ever feel that you have those conversations with your husband as well? Because he's learning. So you're becoming a teacher again, in that sense of, this is how we're going to navigate it together as a family. How does that feel?
I don't really, the boundaries with my husband is like we're very strong, and but sometimes he overreacts, and it's about helping him to understand where she's coming from. But having said that, a granddaughter has autism, and for her, being really close and being tight in with you is really important to her. And so she's always, she gets right up in your face, even with lots of different people. Like, we have to be really careful about that. But she's right on you, and she squeezes and she pushes into you because she needs that deep pressure. And so sometimes I have to have those conversations with her, lots of times, not sometimes, lots, because you love, you cuddle, you let them in, but sometimes you just need space.
Yes,
and it's
you
like,
need that personal space.
I just need space. Can you just step over here for a little bit and give me some space? And sometimes I just have to go to the toilet to get that space.
Oh, you're not the only one, Sue. Don't worry. I hide from the dog. But I'm home just to see him, and the rest of the humans actually want a little bit of them too. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, because I think there's a few things there. There's the identity, self-identity, and retaining that level of self-worth as well, that you come with lived experience as a human being, as Sue, as the social work that you've been doing with DCP, now as a grandcare, still as a wife and a mother and a friend, a colleague, and all of that. And I think sometimes the word carer doesn't always necessarily depict what's beneath that word, that the fatigue, the compassion that you need to have. And sometimes it's okay not to have it. You need to fill your cup. You need to find some ways, even if it's just a couple of minutes a day, which any carer would probably roll their eyes and say, oh, I haven't got it. We do. It's how we need to be able to factor that in with our day. Like you say, if it's retreating to the toilet or the ensuite or the built-in wardrobe, do it. Would you say do it?
Do
Sue
it.
says
Yes.
do it. Okay, Karina, we had another question that came in that Sue can answer about a bit of overwhelm.
Yeah, so there's a question as well, which is probably a bit connection to that we have discussed earlier. So when I feel overwhelmed, what's something small I can do that's help other carers cope?
Oh, when I do feel moments of overwhelm, which has surprised me really, because I'm a person that just gets on with it. But when I sit and reflect, sometimes I think I can't do this. I can't do it. Like I'm too old. I and I, I and I'm really surprised myself because I'm not a quitter, and but I have had moments of feeling I don't know that I can do this, and I count down the years if I've got the years, and I do it often because I forget how many years I've got. Um, and sometimes taking that 5 minutes is going to the toilet to take some deep breaths, to scroll my phone, to take more than I need in the toilet, just to have the time to myself. And that's probably the place where I actually get the silence. Sometimes if it's a clash, if she's feeling really overwhelmed as well, it's about I've really come to know for her what works for her in calming. And so when she has some of these big meltdowns, her her calming space is water. And so we have a really deep spa bath. And so I fill it up and put the spa on sometimes. But she will spend 2 or 3 hours in that bath after a meltdown. And while she's busy in there being calm, I get time to me. While she's, while we've found a strategy for both of us to actually walk away and have an opportunity to calm. And so, I might go out in the garden, because if she's in the bus, she's not following me. Spending time with my other children and grandchildren is what fills my bucket. And so, and making time to do that. And so working at Grandcarers SA has been wonderful for me because it means that I've only had to work 4 days a week. And so on the Fridays, I make it a day where, because all the kids go to the same school, so I pick some of the other kids up and we go and have ice cream. And so that's the day that Isabel gets to be my grandchild as a grandchild, not a grandchild parent relationship. And so we go off and we do the grandparent stuff like we do with the other kids.
And that's bringing her into mainstream activities, isn't it, as well? And it's, I know you were mentioning she has the ADHD and the ASD. And even when any of us are feeling hyperactive naturally, we're on the flow, we've had this excitement, not everybody's on that level, and we need to know when it's time to just decompress. And what I loved, Sue, if I can share that now, is the way that you've seen a strategy with the spa bath, with the warmth, with the bubbles, with the bringing down that sympathetic nervous system, which I love to talk about in terms of when we recognize that our cortisol levels are high, or you can acknowledge that in your granddaughter, that things are high, we need to just bring that down and get that balance. So I love that idea. And the warmth of the bath as well is that hug that she would want that
Yeah.
as a physical connection with you. And I also love the fact that you are going and doing some other activities to socialize and connect and hear what's happening in the other world.
Yeah.
Somebody said to me sometimes they feel like they're in two worlds, the world of a carer and the world of
Mum.
the life that what was.
Yeah,
That still is, but it's different now.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank
It
you so
is
much.
different even with, like we're part of a friendship group, we go to church, um, and even those gatherings together, they're different because they're all our age and they don't do children anymore. And even, every month we do a different activity. And one of the things, I haven't said this to my husband, I haven't said anything to him about it, but they're going out on an activity where they're doing painting, and it's an adult only painting. So I don't know whether I'm being a bit oversensitive that they've named it adults only as a means
Oh,
that we don't want her, or whether it's just an adult class. But I just, even that, like, that changed the way I think, for me, I really felt sensitive to that
mm.
because it felt like to me that they were excluding her. I haven't asked them about that, but that's
It's
just
a
how
thought. It's a thought that's
it's,
being planted,
yeah,
not the
because it's
facts.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and I noticed the difference now because she is a tricky kid and she's all over everybody. It's really hard because she's quite intense, and so we pick our times when we go to them things now,
Yeah.
whereas before we just go to them all.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it has
Absolutely.
changed life.
Yeah, and every day is different, feels the same sometimes, but we learn so many thoughts go. It's thousands of thoughts that we
Yes.
experience every day, just in a regular day in the office, a regular day at church, a regular day at the painting. People come with so many conversations. And I really appreciate you sharing that, because there are sometimes those times where we feel we've got to be a certain way to feel accepted,
Yeah.
rather than teaching and educating others to accept our situation, because we very much respect theirs. So it's that reciprocal relationship continuing on, which can take strength to do that, but I think perseverance is the key. And I know that, having children myself, with no disability or abilities, in terms of knowing the witching hour and the time when you thought everything was going okay, and then suddenly they won't get in the car because they need to
Yeah.
get a handful of sultanas from childcare until they go, and you've had a busy day at work and all you want to do is just get in the car. And now
Yes.
that child doesn't even like sultanas because they overdosed on them. So, those are the moments we remember, we take them with us, and we learn from them all, don't we? And I know that before we finish up, we've actually got another question, Karina, if you would like to share with Sue. I think it's around the talking with families and friends,
Yeah.
from what I remember.
Yeah, with the situation you were in, like the new situation where you had taken care of your granddaughter. So how did you talk to your family or friends who don't understand what's really like to be a full-time carer again?
I don't I, I I haven't really had conversations with, other than my close family, I guess, my sister, who's my confidant. And I have another sister who raised her two grandchildren, who really understands that. And I guess, being able to talk to them has been a good thing. Um, I haven't really had conversations with my other family about the situation. It just is what it is, and we accept what it is. Um, and I guess I'm lucky because I have they are supportive. I have lovely supportive beautiful children that do support us and give us time out, my husband and I. So so we're going to a wedding on Friday, and Isabel's having a sleepover with an auntie and uncle. So so we are lucky in that way that we have a good, strong family of support. But I have to be really careful not to outdo the welcome kind of thing with that. So I try to be really mindful of how much I put on them around supporting us. And yeah.
How does that work with sorry, how does that work when, do you ever feel that you can't overstep the mark, is what I want to say? But like you've just said, there has to be a balance, isn't there? That you've got a wedding coming up, there's something for you and your husband to look forward to, so you've still got to have those aha moments where it's okay that someone else can care for my grandchild. Do you ever feel that there's a moment where, or if you do, how do you manage that when you feel that maybe I've asked too much? Or what does that feel like? Because somebody would probably resonate with that. I don't want to again because it makes me feel like I've overstepped the mark.
So I am very mindful around, you know, if we've got a few things coming up and they're all together, I try to balance it out with this one and then this one and then this one, so that I'm not overwhelming them. And I guess it's reciprocal. So, you know, we do the same. We have invite the other grandchildren over for sleepovers and help to balance it out. Probably the biggest, like my older grandchildren who used to come and sleep over every Thursday night. And they're a little bit older, and so they decided they didn't want to sleep over anymore because, you know, Isabel she's very intense, and you know, when you get to teenagers, you don't really want that. And so I think our relationship with them has probably not been as it is. And I had some thoughts about that one. And my daughter-in-law sent me a text message, and she said, just recently, we haven't had Isabel sleeping over for a little while. Would she like to come and sleep over for the weekend? And I'm like, oh, that would be really lovely. We had a busy weekend, but we made it work. And on the Friday night, I said to my husband, we haven't done anything with the girls for a long while. How about Isabel goes and sleeps over at their house, and we take the girls out for dinner and a movie, and then we drop them home after. And so that's what we did, and it was really lovely. So they chose the movie, and they didn't come and sleep over because that was me and my husband's opportunity to have some time for us as well. So we found a balance for everybody. And so that's what we have to do, is balancing all of that out. So it is give and take all the time, and finding ways that we can still have those relationships with the other grandchildren.
Yeah, balance is the key, isn't it?
Balance is the key,
balance.
yes.
And it sounds like a little bit of time management in the mix as well, Sue.
Yes. Or a lot of time management.
Yeah, and the thing with time management, I don't know about you, even if you plan something, it's like you need a buffer just in case that doesn't go to plan. There's always a plan B. The plan B may sometimes just having to say, okay, today's not the day, we'll try again tomorrow.
Yes.
So I'm sure you did as well, Karina, took a lot out of the conversation with you today, Sue, in terms of really highlighting the need to still stay with self and have your own self-identity, relationships, and fostering those and fostering new ones, so that when new friends come along, I'm sure you've experienced that you've had to do a bit of an explanation on where you're at and what's involved in your life. So They say friendships are like a train journey. Some get on and off, and some stay for the whole journey. And it's so true in the caring role of many that this is your life. They
Yeah.
are part of yours, you're part of theirs, and getting that balance and having that solid relationship, which I totally again respect that not everybody does have. And I do believe that Grandcarers SA have got some support services there if people, even after listening to this episode, may have a little trigger or maybe a question that they can just sit with and then reach out if they can. And we'll put some information in the show notes as well for people to be able to contact Grandcarers SA. And obviously also listen to some of the other episodes, which we've got a few topics on, chaos to calm and how to just center yourself in times of a bit of flurry. So there's plenty of opportunities there. So I will wrap up this episode. It's been such a wonderful experience to hear your side of your life and how you've used some strategies like the warm bath. Makes me want one now, to just have that innocent hug of the water around your granddaughter, and those times when she's safe, where she is, she's calm, she's feeling at ease, that it's at ease for you too. And Karina, do you have any other sort of wrap up comments about what has been shared on this episode today?
Yes, so thank you so much, Sue, for sharing your story and then, highlighting the challenges and also sharing some of your positive strategies as well, which I know that the grandcarers who are listening now could use this positive strategies as well. So it's all the balance, isn't it? Balance and time management as well. So
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Sue. Thank you, Karina, for being on this episode. We look forward to sharing more carers' voices along the way through this series. And for now, I just wish you both well in what you are doing. Continue doing it. And I know that you're making a difference to the people that you come into contact with, which I think is very, very heartfelt. So thank you so much. And we'll be back again with another episode very soon.